Thank you. I'm sure, Dr. Kwan, you have noted, but let me just say the three questions that actually been for you is basically what types of the research, and then if you just give some elaboration, and which is also related to whether the research been done by others, civil societies, NGOs, how that's basically impacting you in the decision making or any bias. The second is the experience to share on the several areas that you have mentioned. What are the experience? If you just mention one or two would be good. And then the capacity building is the types and whether is the country focus, the regional focus. So with that, let me start with you, Dr. Kwan.
In research, mostly the research has been done in academia and research institute. I think there is some research report from the civil society, but I don't know whether that's. I think they're not published. Maybe published with collaboration with other institutions or other organizations. So you mentioned our research results, right? You're talking about our research results, 63 last 3 years. Is that what you're talking about? Those are research has been done our institute collaboration with other organizations, including the government. So, and
yes, please on the other areas.
And capacity building. Well, the capacity building mostly. We are providing the government officials, especially the local, because central government officers are well equipped with the climate change adaptation compared to local. So the more focusing on the local government officers and also local experts and resident and so on. So that's domestic capacity building, and internationally, we had an experience. As I mentioned before, the people who are involved in the climate change adaptation, including the government officers and also practitioners. I think they pretty much satisfied with the capacity building. So that's why we want to continue the capacity building internationally.
Okay, thank you. And let me just mention the remaining four, and I'd like to give the chance to Mr. So to reflect on, but maybe the other panel members feel free to reflect on those four. Is basically the Eric's point is many approaches tried, what is the experiences, is there anything not achieved, how to handle that in the next steps. And then the whole issues around this, the uncertainty. And then the third is the M&E, and that's related to one of the questions, the M&E tools. And then the last one is any skepticism and how to handle if there is any in the country. So with that, may I request Mr. Saw to shed some light on those four areas, and then as any other panel member would like to take the floor, feel free.
In fact, the Korean adaptation plan was mainly made from the process through experts, through gathering expert opinion and advice. from related to ministers and central government. So it is difficult to make to establish the plan, and because many even many central institutions do not need to adopt adaptation measures for their areas. So when we established post adaptation plan, it has many the plan was not complete. It needs many improvement, of course, and I have to confess that sufficient impact or vulnerable assessment was not completed yet, and it is the task for our government. So we also know the incompleteness of our plan. So we're trying to improve the plan in the future. So, and related to uncertainty, I think it is also a problem of some scientific base. So, I'd like to say that our government tries to support necessary R&D in the future. So, and related to skepticism, we need more governance-based policy making. So we'll do the same in the future. And the first plan, it is some kind of the initial stage for adaptation. Not it is more related to do in the future, not have accomplished. It is not focused on what we had accomplished or we had done, but it is more related to what we plan to do. So we'd like to reflect these requirements in the future while we proceeding the current measures. And can I add more? And in relation to Professor Gang's comments about his edges and to be, we also need to control tower. So the establishment of KEA-CCC is one reason. And data hub. So as I said before, we also tried to establish adaptation integrated adaptation information system. And the work will be done by from this year to 2015. Yeah. And yeah, and I'd like to say that we are trying to that point. And another thing is that as is government-led R&D should be changed industry-led R&D. I totally agree with the opinion, but currently many private sector. It is the fact that private sector does not know why adaptation policy is needed. So we'd like to support their capacity building and support their adaptation, and we'd like to make them participate in the adaptation policies. If they need to if they need to know, if they know the necessity for adaptation, then they will. I think they will try to many R&D, and they will support many R&D for their own profit. And in relation to the problem that adaptation policies are distributed in many central government in many central government ministries. I know the problem, of course, because I have the work to coordinating the individual measures into one. So I know the problems of the problems, but I'd like to say that I will do my best, and our ministry will do our best to coordinating and integrating the policies. And many problems are related to multi departments, and these policies also related to the problems, but I think there is no distinct answer to the problem, but I think that we'll try to improve and we'll try to reduce the problems. And I think the adaptation policies does not finish just by 5 or 6 years. I think it will continue to 2050 or 200 or 20 or even longer period. So we'll gradually and step by step improve the policies. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Song. We have started slightly behind the schedule, and we are also behind the schedule right now. But I'd like to give a chance to Dr. Kong, if anything that you feel important to share.
Okay, thank you. I don't recall all the questions, but I'd like to probably cover a couple of questions that I remember. Of course, there is a lot of uncertainties in relation to climate change issues, but I would say, fortunately, there are much less climate skeptics in Korea compared with the North America, for example. And the issue is probably that's because the adaptation issues are closely related to natural hazard, or the kind of things. So usually news medias attribute all kinds of disasters or hazard we have to the environmental issues and climate change issues, and people easily try to accept that. So I would say the uncertainties and skeptics among general public are less problematic than that with the private sectors, because they do not want to invest their money due to uncertainties. And I think the key issues should be how the scientific communities could provide proper information for the sectors to take any actions. And there was a question about monitoring issues. And in addition to conventional meteorological monitoring and data, I would say ecosystem responses or other biological monitoring should be incorporated to understand or to have a better view on overall processes. And there was a question about biased information or biased, result from the researches which are supported from different stakeholders. And I would say we don't have serious problem with the biased information out of scientific research. The issue is that, firstly, scientists, in many cases, they have a freedom, and usually their product are peer-reviewed by other scientists rather than censored by a government. And there's a lot of activities from the NGOs, and I believe we have almost all freedom of expression and speeches in South Korea, and especially the academias are respected in general society. So the issue is about the scientific integrity of the findings rather than other political issues. But I don't know, if you are working for the government and you are directly funded by the ministry, but then you may have some censorship by yourself. But as a professor in the universities, I don't see any big issues from the political perspective. Yeah, I would. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you. As I mentioned that we have started a bit late, but I think that we have covered up that with the time we have now. So with that, I'd like to thank all the panel members, because I don't see that it's going to be a good idea to summarize the key point by myself, but may I request all the audience to give a thanks to all of them with applause. And before I end, what I'd like to make an humble request to all the participants, which has been requested on the day one, is the evaluation form. My humble request to all of you, please submit the evaluation form as soon as possible, even if possible today, but if not today, please do it by tomorrow. Otherwise, it is going to be very hard for us to pick up those forms and award you. So we request you to please help us on that. With that, thank you very much. It was a long day, but we are looking forward to have a fruitful discussion tomorrow. Thank you very much.